Hey everybody, I wanted to throw out a video here real quick on how to add citations and more importantly how to add their PDF files into the Mendeley options for you to utilize in your papers and to annotate and to things like that. This is highly important if you're writing a paper, a literature review, or you're doing actual honest to goodness research. So I thought I might actually show you one that I'm beginning, and so I thought I would just save it and begin it right here in this video. So what I want to do is I want to start a literature review on online radicalization or radicalization of individuals to a radical ideology on the internet. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set up Mendeley. And what I've done in Mendeley is, and I'll just redo this real quick. I'm going to remove that folder. You can come down here to create folder and you just title it a new folder. Make sure I spell it right. Yes, okay. Radicalization online. So this is, just a way of organizing my documents again. And you can see I've got all kinds of stuff in here, but I want to really talk about radicalization online. All right, so now that Mendeley is set up, something else that I've done is I just set up a folder in my downloads. So you can see this is my downloads folder full of all kinds of wonderful stuff. I've just set up a little folder in there so that I know where I'm downloading stuff to. These are sort of the prep things you want to do so that you're not hunting for things after you've found them. Let's see here. So this first article looks very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it, and I'll read the abstract. Talking about Islamic State conducting modern sophisticated media campaigns. This is absolutely what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this citation. Now, lots of people want to go ahead and grab the article first. Well, it seems like there's an issue with the article. So I may have to follow around and try to find that. But really, the first thing you want to do is, because sometimes the article isn't available, which case, as we just witnessed, oh, well, looks like it's going to download it now. Sometimes you can't find these articles. What's the most important part is grabbing that citation file. So here's kind of how I do it. I'm going to grab this title here. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to open up the citation. You see down here where it says Export to Bibliographic Management Software. That's what I'm interested in. So we're going to click on that. And I want this RIS format. This is what I want. An RIS is sort of a default standardization for citation managers. And you can see everything here is listed. Everything but Mendeley is listed here. But the RIS format is the generally accepted format. It's kind of like a doc format. Is accepted for all Word files. A PDF is accepted for all PostScript files. RIS is considered Research Information Systems is what it stands for. Okay, so I'm going to download the RIS file. And by default, it's going to save it something like delivery.ris, which is absolutely worthless to me because that doesn't mean anything to me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show this in the folder. And you can see there it is. It downloaded it to delivery.ris. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that to my other folder, just so I can keep my radicalization stuff separate. Now, every time you download from EBSCOhost or some of the other databases, it's going to title it something stupid like this. So what I'm doing is I just pasted the name of if you want to see how I did it, just click on the name one time. Because I've copied the name to the notebook here, it just keeps the name in there. And that just helps me keep the RIS file. And you can see it's listed, RIS file right there. That just helps me keep it separate. Now, in this particular instance, I can actually grab the PDF as well. And so I'm going to grab it. But you notice that I grabbed the citation file first. And this is where a lot of students mess up. They grab the PDF thinking that that's the most important part. And it is a very important part. You have to be able to read the article. But the most important part for what it is you're doing is citing. And when it comes to the citation part of it, the citation is actually the most important part. You can always find the article in some way. Finding the citation correctly is another issue. So what I'm going to do here, now that I have the citation, I'm going to grab the article itself, and what I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy the title, and then for me, on the Macs, it may be down here. It depends on how your PDF plugin works, but there's usually a download button. My download button's up here at the top. So I'm going to click download, and in this particular instance, it has asked me to save this to the desktop. I'm going to go to my radicalization folder here, and fortunately for me, it has actually titled this the name of the document, so I'm going to keep that in there. And you can see that once this stops flashing at me, I've downloaded it. So this is the download of a citation file and the PDF. Now, what a lot of people do is that they immediately throw the PDF in here. And I will show you very quickly why that's a bad idea. That's right, I said it's a bad idea. If I come into my radicalization and I just take this and drop it in here, this may or may not be right. Like 731 may not be the right volume number. Issue is not April, and it doesn't have 0 pages. You can see that the citation information isn't necessarily correct. And so if you just drop in the PDF, you may be getting bad data. And here's why. If I open this up, and I come over here to properties, it's only what Mendeley does, and what every citation manager does, is it pulls this information from the file itself. These aren't always correct. In some cases, these are missing entirely because there's no standard for how this is built. So don't trust the information in the file. What you want to do is trust the information in the citation. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this document altogether. If I take that citation file, that RIS file, and I drag it and I drop it to my appropriate folder, you'll see that I have issue 1, pages 1 through 9, volume 40. This data is correct because this data comes from the database. Now sometimes you have to correct this, like sometimes these are all capitals and they shouldn't be, or sometimes the journal name is in the year and the year is in the journal. But for the most part, this information is all correct. Now, you're saying, but Dr. Chris, how do I get the PDF? Well, I'll show you. It's really simple. You scroll all the way down here to where it says Files. It'll say Files right there. I'm clicking on it, so I think the little red marker will show. You just scroll all the way down. I'll do it again. To Files. And when you hold your mouse over this, and this works on every system, Mac, PC, Linux, click Add File. I'm going to go to my downloads, I'm going to go to radicalization, and I'm going to choose the PDF that goes with this. And I know which one it is because I've given it a proper title. As soon as the little PDF icon shows over here, I'm good to go. And my file has now been added. Now remember, if you haven't turned on in the options, so you come up to Tools, Options, File Organizer. If you haven't turned on Organize My Files, you need to. And I'll tell you why. Because right now, this has made a copy. I can delete this one and it'll still show up here. If that's turned off, if this option here is turned off, this Organize My Files, then if I delete this version in my Downloads folder, it will not be able to find this. So make sure that you've turned on your Organize My Files because it actually creates a copy. Now I can delete both of these from my Downloads folder. And that's how you add an item into Mendeley. It's actually pretty straightforward. It's drag and drop. And if you want to see me do this again, we'll just go ahead and do another one. So I'm going to come over here. I like this file. I think I'll keep this one. Political radicalization on the internet. Let's absolutely look at that. In fact, I'm going to just go ahead and copy that because I know I'm going to want this. I've met Dr. Holt. He's an excellent researcher and just an all-around nice guy. So anything he writes, I'm definitely going to want to read. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to download the citation. by clicking Export to Bibliographic Management Software. I'm going to make sure the direct export in RIS format is selected. And it's going to again save it something stupid like delivery.ris. But that's okay because I have the magic folder over here that says I'm going to change that. I'm just going to drag it and, well, that's actually what it looks like. I'm going to go to my downloads, find delivery. Where is delivery? Oh, there it is. I'm going to scroll up here. Now, hopefully your downloads folder isn't nearly as, well, dirty as mine. I'm going to throw that into radicalization. And there's my delivery. I'm going to rename that and paste the name I copied. All right. Now I'm going to grab the linked document. Oh, see, at least I had the citation. Let's try that again. Sometimes on a second try or a third try, or EBSCOhost may just be having problems. Oh, looks like I got it this time. And that's why. This is one of the reasons why you always go for the citation, because you don't know whether or not you're always going to get the PDF. There are many ways to find a copy of the article, but there's only one way to get the citation file. And remember, citation files go into your citing while you write and into your reference page. So I'm going to copy the title again. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to download it. I'm already in my radicalization folder, so I'm just going to save that down. There are my RIS file as well as the PDF. I'm going to come into Mendeley. And this really is as easy as drag and drop the citation file. So I'm going to take the citation file, which is an RIS file. I'm going to drag it over, and I'm going to drop it into my radicalization online folder. And there it is. I'm going to do a quick spot check. All right, everything's there. I'm going to scroll all the way down to add files. I'm in my downloads radicalization folder, and so I'm going to pull it, select the appropriate PDF, which is the only one in there with the same title. And once it clicks here, I'm good to go. I'm just going to spot check that to make sure it is actually Dr. Holt's and Dr. Freilig's work, and it is. So again, it's two examples of how to go through and find and add citations into Mendeley. Okay, so what I'll do next in this video is kind of go over some of the things in this you need to look for. You need to look for, just because Mendeley pulls it incorrectly from the database doesn't mean the database does it correctly. And to illustrate that, I'm almost positive that on this search list I can find one somewhere, and look at that, there it is. Somewhere someone has always put all caps. It's probably one of the most common mistakes, like this one here. This should not be in all caps. This should actually be in APA format. The first word should be capitalized, and then of course proper nouns like Canada should be capitalized, but then every other word should be lowercase. So the C should be capitalized, the criminalizing part of criminalizing should be lowercase, and so this is an error in the database, but that's because this is how the database got it, and that error will be passed on to you. To show you that, I will actually download the citation and put it in there. And I'm just going to download the citation on this. I'm not going to change the names or anything because I want to show you how bad it is. So let me come back to my downloads folder. We'll come over here and select delivery, and I'll just drop that in there. And you can see that that error passed along right into me. In fact, the author names are even all uppercase. So in this instance, if I add this to my paper, it's going to add it just like it is here. And to show that, let me fire up Word here. And I'm going to insert a citation. Of course, I would never use first person, but you already know that. So what I'm going to do, let's take a look at the author name here. It's Forsesi. Okay, Forsesi. And there it is. And you can see that this should not be all capitalized. And if I come to a second page, let me insert my reference page here. I'm going to insert a blank page and call it references. And I'm going to insert my bibliography from the menu. Now I'll just kind of show you how I do this here. Insert bibliography on page 2, and we'll double space it because that's the way it should be. Alright, you don't want to try to change this here. That's an issue. So what Mendeley does for you though is it allows you to change it here. And I'll show you a trick. If you come across this, you can just copy the title. Word will do this for you. Word's actually very good at this kind of thing. I'm going to create a new document. Whoops. I'm going to paste the title. Now, that's the title. Over here, Word has this capitalization thing. Increase, where is it? Here we go. Capitalization case change. So what you want to do is go to sentence case. The sentence case will keep all proper nouns and the first letter capitalized. Well, it should have kept this back capitalized. It didn't. Okay, so this is actually how that title should read. So now that I'm going to copy it, I'm going to come back to Mendeley, and I'm going to paste it that way. Now here's the nice part. Now that you've changed it in Mendeley, if I come back over to my Word document, and I come over to References, and I click on the Mendeley button, I click Refresh, watch what happens. It changed it to lowercase here, because this is just pulling from Mendeley. It's just pulling from this right here. So a couple of other things. This should not be all uppercase. And Craig is not all uppercase. Kent Roach. That should be like that. Alright, so let's go. That's all good. Some things you don't need. You can keep the keywords if you want. You don't need them. You don't necessarily need the month. You don't need this URL. Anything your library tends to, like I'm at Tarleton, so the University Library appends this to it. You can just click the little X button and delete that. And the rest is good. Sometimes you have a DOI number, but for the most cases, most people don't need DOI numbers. So if I come back over here and I refresh again, which I'm not going to click on yet, but I'm going to tell you the changes that are going to happen. The author names here will change to lowercase, and this URL will go away. So will the retrieved from. Everything from here down will go away. So if I click refresh, you can see that the author names changed to lowercase and the retrieved from URL is gone. For research articles like this one that's coming from a law review, you don't need the retrieved from. You don't need the retrieved from for any academic article. The only retrieved froms you need are when you're actually retrieving it from the web, and the cases for that are usually very slim, or you're not going to have very many of them. Sometimes justice statistics or some sort of government website or review or policy, you might want to have that on there, but it's very seldom that for references you're going to do that. Now, not only did it change the author names here, it should be before I scroll up, it should be lowercase above it. And it looks like it killed it out. So I must have copied it wrong. If I insert the same citation, you can see that it now copies it in directly from Mendeley as it should be. So sometimes you have to massage this. Sometimes you have to clean this up a little bit. And that's not Mendeley's fault, that's actually the database's fault. Like for instance, JOR, which stands for journal under type of work. You don't need that. You can get rid of that. And that's just because that's the way the database gets it from the publisher. The Alberta Law Review sent it to the database in this format. So you clean it up a little bit, but the nice part is once you clean it up the first time, you don't have to clean it up a second or third time. Okay, so that's how you bring in articles, and that's how you kind of do a little bit of cleanup on these things. I hope you have found this useful. Please leave any comments in the comments section. If you want to know something specific, please let me know. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.